All right, step one for laser etching. The first thing you gotta do is make sure that whatever you're gonna use, whether it's this, a cup or whatever, that you make sure that you're gonna have it cleaned first to get all the oils off. So to do that, get some rubbing alcohol. All right, you can use goof off too, but even if you use goof off, you probably wanna use rubbing alcohol after it and get all the oils off of here. So the big thing is just to make sure everything's perfectly clean, because if there's any oil that stays on there, it will block the marking spray and you're gonna get something that more likely the mark will rub off. All right. Once you do that, that's when you'll take your Surmark and you're gonna spray, just like you're spray painting anything, you know, start on the outside, back and forth, to get a good spray. So I can do that with this one too. If you have a bunch of stuff, you'll save a lot more spray. If you have a bunch of cups and you stick them all together first before you do it. For this, make sure you get it out first. The instructions are on here, but when it dries, you want to just double check that it's on there. Don't put too much or you'll start getting drips, and the drips could get in the way. But you know, just a good even spray and make sure you're not going to miss any parts. Once you're done with this, you want to let it out the nozzle and just wipe off the nozzle so there's no clogs for next time.
Okay, let's try this again. So what we're going to do is when we're ready to print, your laser engraver is just like a printer. So we have everything prepped over there, but now what we need to do is get it set up to send to the printer. And so your engraver, once we have it the way we want it, before we do anything to print, we got to remember that the rollers are going to be treated as the top. So if I want this to be the top of my cup up here, I'm going to have to rotate the image because of the way it's rolling. Okay, so I'm going to image it and rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise so that now it's going to roll along the cup the way it's supposed to. Okay, once it's ready, so we're going to, obviously we know it's black and white only. Now we're going to go to our print. We're going to choose the right printer. Okay, the printer is networked and it's called Epilogue. All right, CT Graphics Epilogue. All right, and we have a little USB thing that's connected to it so that it's a network printer. I click Print Settings. Here, these are the settings you want for the laser engraver for the laser etching. Now, normally if you had wood or glass or anything else that you're etching, 600 DPI is just fine. It's going to go a lot faster, and really it's not the resolution I'm trying to get right, it's the power. And so I go 1200 DPI to get the most amount of power to make sure that that is going to stay permanent. All right, the size, we always do 18 by 12. That's the size of the machine, so we always have that setting so we see where it's going to be. All right, we always want to autofocus because we always want to make sure it checks exactly where the focus is going to be. All right, for rollers, what I've noticed is when we do rollers, we want it to start from the center. Okay, if you were doing a something like a plaque and you know where the exact corner is going to be, then you know you can just stick it in the corner of the machine. Then you would uncheck center and you do it that way. But for a cup, I want to be specific. The best way I can do is measure exactly what the center is. So I'm going to choose center. Speed, I'll do about 10%. Power will always be 100%. If you're doing glass, you'll go up with speed and go down with power. What I always suggest is that you do a little text document inside, you know, save another text document in the folder with these files that just say what the speed and power are. So if you're doing something from the year before or you're redoing something, you can check what the power and speed was before, so you don't have to guess later. All right, everything else is good here. So we check all that, we say okay. All right, now it's going to then push everything to the center of the platen. All right, it'll probably do that when you're done. It usually, this checks right away. So you want to uncheck center, All right, and tab 00 to get it in this upper corner, because that's where the origin is going to be, and we're going to, on the laser engraver, we're going to set origin. Once you're all set in here, you'll click print. Now it's going to take a little bit. Obviously, wait on the machine. Don't press go right away. Just make sure that this is finished here, and then you'll even see some flashing, the flashing of the data going to the machine. Don't press anything until you know everything's done and all the data is on the engraver. So that's it.
Okay, so we sent it to the printer. So now what we're going to do is get our cup or whatever we're going to be etching. All right, and we're going to place it. The rotary tool is already installed, so it's good to go. Once we place it in, you got the part of the rotary tool, which is, I know it's hard to see on here, but you can adjust it to get it to be the right length and all that. You obviously want to get it so it's going to be where it won't slide off. If you're doing glass, it's going to be hard because you have soap and other things that will make it slide off. So you want to make sure it's good and flat and level in here. So I'm going to slide it over, and then what you also have is, it's hard to see, but you'll be able to get it leveled off. There's a little dial so you can make sure that whatever the surface is that you are going to engrave on or etch on, you want it as flat as possible. You could use it or level as possible, so that wherever the focus is, when it gets the focus is going to be the same throughout wherever it's going to be printing. So you just want to make sure, I kind of look at where the cup is compared to this part. You can obviously just grab a level too and do it that way. All right, now once we have it exactly where we want it, all right, I want to make sure it's good and set in there pretty well. Hopefully that's a good spot for it. All right, now I'm going to say I want to get my pointer on, which means now I have a red dot. Now I want to get this centered on. I want the marking. I click center, make sure you do that, but I click center. So now I want to make sure the red dot is at the exact center of my logo. So I hit XY off, which is going to turn off this. I hit go to confirm, and now I can move this back and forth. All right, and this is going to show the red dot exactly where I want it to be in the center of the cup. You could grab a ruler and measure, okay, exactly where that's going to be. Of course, the problem is you don't want to get rid of your etching spray too, so you kind of have to be careful not to do that etching spray, you want to be careful not to scrape off the etching spray. All right, so that's set. I have it in the center where I want it. I'm going to hit set home, and that resets the origin in the center of where I want it. Now I'm going to hit reset, and it's going to pull the job back up. All right, once everything's good to go, close the lid. All right, if the lid opens up, it's going to stop etching. Close the lid, press go. Now when you're doing this laser etching, it's not, the fumes are not bad, and it's not like smoke like when you're doing a wood etching. If you did a wood etching like this, okay, that would get a lot of smoke and it would set off a fire detector or smoke detector and all that stuff. This alone is fine. You won't need to worry about any bad noxious fumes or anything, so you don't need to turn on the exhaust. All right, but then you let it run. It will be slow, so you'll have to be patient, but it'll go, and we will see what it looks like when we take it out.